Welcome to the Keep Punching podcast. Today we have a very special guest, four-time world champion and one of the Australian boxing GOATs, Jeff Fenech. During the conversation, we dive into Jeff's incredible career. We speak about the lessons he's learned outside the ring and inside the ring. We talk about some of the incredible relationships he's built with some mega successful people and what he's learned from them, as well as talk about boxing as a sport today compared to when he was boxing in the 80s and in the 90s. There's some really incredible insights, and I know you're going to enjoy this one. First and foremost, thank you very much for being here today, Jeff. Myself and all the HitFit community really appreciate it. I showed you a photo earlier of us at the Australian Boxing Hall of Fame in 2019. I think I would have been about 10 or 11 years old. I remember that night.
You can't work out your age?
Yeah, no, not really, mate. Not that good with maths, unfortunately. And yeah, I remember going to the dinner with my dad, Lester Ellis, and I was a big fan of yours. And my dad was nice enough to introduce me to yourself. You were very hospitable on the night. I pretty much was by your side for a few hours. You were joking and calling me a Malteser because obviously my mum is Maltese, and you introduced me to the other world champions, and that's a memory I've always been very fond of. And actually from that night, that inspired me to take up boxing. So I'd like to bring it full circle, Jeff. What inspired you for the first time to go into a boxing gym?
Hey, Darcy, well, I've never boxed in my life. I never thought of boxing. I played rugby league, and that's all I ever wanted to be was a rugby league player. And then one day I was with a group of friends that, for the wrong reasons, we went to a youth club to try to find some boys that we wanted to beat up. After searching the whole premises, the last room we had to look in, which was upstairs, the little glass window, I don't forget, had boxing on it. I looked through, there was nobody there. The people that we wanted to find weren't there. But I noticed a friend of mine from school, his name was Mark Cribb, who was the Australian champion back at the time, bantamweight champion. So I thought, there's nothing to do, so I went and sat down and watched him train and stuff. And at the end of the session, I heard his trainer talking about somebody to box, and I thought to myself, I could kill this guy, you know, this tough guy. And so the next day I went to the youth club and I had a box. It wasn't a great memory because getting hit to the body and stuff, thinking, oh. But at the end of it, Johnny Lewis, who was the man that I was talking about earlier, said, have you fought before? You got potential, so and so. You got to come back tomorrow. And I thought to myself, this old bastard's trying to get me beat up again tomorrow, but I had all my friends around me. So, yeah, of course I'm going to be back. When I got home that night, I was thinking, no, I'm not going back. There's not a chance I'm going to get belted again. But maybe pride overtook, so I went back. And things just happened very quickly. In 3 months, I was a state champion, Australian champion a few months later. And, I was kind of doing really well. And the great thing was, that Johnny Lewis, he never set me crazy goals I thought I'd never achieve, but he'd said to me one day, Jeff, if you keep doing what you're doing, you could be a state champion. That happened, then Australian champion happened. Then I travelled around the world with a few of the Australian teams. So it was great. It was enticing. Like, here's this guy telling me that I could do these things that I'd never done before. And he was setting me, like I said, really achievable goals that he believed in. And it just all fell into place. I loved it. I loved the boxing, but I loved Johnny more. I loved the relationship. I loved what he gave me. He gave me everything. So I really, I don't know if anybody else. Well, there's only one Johnny Lewis, so I don't know if anybody else could have kept me there the way he did. But yeah, it was an amazing combination that we formed that day. Yeah.
And what age were you, Jeff, when you first started boxing?
17 and a half, nearly 18. Yeah.
Yep. And at what point from, 17, did you start to, believe some of the stuff Johnny Lewis was saying to you? And what point did you feel like, I could have a future with boxing, I can make this my career?
Yeah, I had my first amateur fight, and he said to me, Jeff, we usually train people for like 5 or 6 or 7 months or a year before they have a fight. In 3 months, I had my first fight and I won that. And then I fought another guy, pretty experienced after that, Brian Williams, who was, I beat him. And again, I never ever thought back then I was going to be anything special, but I thought the harder I worked, the more Johnny loved me, the more I loved him. And there was, it was like like I said, it wasn't, when I won and I seen the happiness on his face, and obviously I felt that this guy's, investing his time and his love with me, and every time I win, I see it flourish. I thought, this is what I want to be, this is what I want to do. So I stopped playing football and concentrate on being a boxer.
Now, you mentioned it happened very quickly for you, so I want to go into that timeline. So you started boxing at 17 and a half. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, with 2 years, you represented Australia at the Olympics, if that's correct. And then shortly after that, within 6 months of turning pro, you won a world title on your 7th fight. Yeah. Why do you think it happened so quickly for you, Jeff?
First of all, I was very, very blessed. I had a promoter by the name of Bill Morty who believed in me, and they would come and watch me spar Jeff Harding at the gym, and I had no problem sparring the light heavyweight champion. Well, back then he wasn't world champion, but I sparred. My sparring partners were light heavyweights, Alan McNamara. Alan tells a famous story that, because I used to take him all around the world with me and for sparring, and he tells me the story that his wife hated me. And I said, why? She said, because every time after we'd spar and train, that he would go straight there and have a bath and go to bed. He was too sore to do anything else. So, but I don't know. I just think, you know what, I honestly believe this. I believe that everybody is born with a gift, and sometimes we don't find it. On that day when I went to the youth club as a hood that and a hooligan who wanted to bash some people up, I found my calling. I found, first I found Johnny, and then I found what I was born to do. And like I said, I believe that there are hundreds of thousands of people who never find what they're great at, but I think that we all have a talent, and somebody or God gave me this talent, and I was just blessed to find it.
Do you think without Johnny Lewis you would have had, I guess, similar success, or do you think you would have stuck to it without someone like a Johnny Lewis there kind of holding your hand through each step?
Yeah, without doubt, I don't believe that I could have went through what I went through without what he gave me, which was very, very special. Maybe I could have went and boxed, and I would have been one of those guys who were in and out and doing all this, but for me it was a 7-day-a-week, 24-hour-a-day. I wanted to be the best fighter in the world. I wanted to, I gave all my friends up. I gave the sport that I loved up, and I just wanted to, do what Johnny told me I could do. I'll never forget another story. Is Johnny went away just as I was going to the Olympics, and somebody else was training me, but he wrote me this beautiful letter saying to me that just go there, enjoy yourself, just do the best you can, learn from all the experiences. And he said, in 1985 you're going to reap all the benefits, and in 1985 you're going to have a great year. And that was in 84, so in 85 I became world champion. So it was like that, I don't know, he could just see what was going to happen, and it was an amazing relationship.
How important do you think it is for, I guess, even beyond boxing, young men to have that mentor, to have that role model, or to have someone they look up to in what they say is gospel, and hopefully that person is a positive influence on their life? I guess, beyond the boxing, how important do you think it is for someone that's 17 that might be in the street or might be doing the wrong thing? Do you feel like a relationship like that would be beneficial to their life overall? Oh,
without doubt. Just boxing, first of all, gives us that opportunity. But let's talk about the great rugby league coaches, the Wayne Bennett's and the Craig Bellamy's. They're not just coaches, they're father figures to all them people. They care more about what's going to happen outside of the football field than what's going to happen inside. And if they care about the outside, and if all that's correct, you just go and do your job then. And that's what made it so easy for me. And when I finally got everything under control, all I was worried about was, I had one job to do, and that was to go out and fight and box. And I tell everybody, when I first had my first world title fight, and it was going to be 15 rounds, how can he do 15 rounds? He's never done it before. And I used to think to myself, these guys are mental. I've done it 100 times in the gym. I've prepared, and preparation's everything. I'm sure your dad Lester's done exactly the same and say the same thing. But preparation's everything. And once you've done something, you can do it. And I tell everybody talks about people's hearts. I fought with 2 broken hands. It's got nothing to do with my heart. It's got to do with my head. It's first from the head, then from the heart. And this controls everything. If this tells you can't do it, you're not going to do it. This is not going to overtake this. This is the major denominator. So if this is stronger, you've done something and you've done it before, you'll be able to do it. And I was very mentally strong. I was strong mentally. I, didn't believe there was anything that could stop me from doing what I want to do. Like I said, just think of at the Olympics, my hands were in ice like nearly 24 hours a day just to be able to pass the doctor and fight because I was so sore. I mean, I can talk about fights. Like when I fought Steve McCrory, my right hand was broken prior to the fight. Marcus Villasana, they were both broken. you know, for the whole fight, and I still fought and still, you know, threw punches not as hard as I would have liked to, but again, because my mind controlled my body, and, you know, I couldn't punch hard, so my mind didn't let me punch hard, but I still punched many, many more times than my opponent and won the fights.
And you just touched on it, Jeff. What was one quality do you think you had as a fighter that made you superior to your opponents?
I'll tell you, without doubt, the quality was, like I said, the dream team from America came to Australia. I'm not sure what year it was, but they came straight from the airplane to my house. Bugsy Mogues and a few other players from the Chicago Bulls. They gave me all this stuff. They wanted me to go out with them that night. I had a fight in 4 weeks, so I'm staying home. Another thing that I'm very, very proud of, and I want to say to you, I've never had a drug in my life. I've never had a coffee in my life. And I mean, my entire group of friends, when I was growing up, smoked weed and done drugs every single day. I was around them, never done. I was able to make my own decisions, and I was able to say yes, no to what I wanted to, and nobody could, you know, tell me to do something I didn't want to do. So I think that was one of my strengths.
Yep. And how important do you think it is for, I guess, anyone that wants to accomplish a goal, not only being great at that thing, so let's talk about boxing, not only being great at the gym or being great at fight night, how important do you think it is for them to have the ability to say no to opportunities like that, whether it's a girl that wants to see you or they go out drinking, like, do you think that's half the battle, if not more than the battle, beyond just the actual talent?
It's definitely more than half the battle, to be able to say no and to be able not to, especially when you start having success, you know, because, you know, listen, I can say, I think the only person that ever beat Mike Tyson was Mike Tyson. I think that the only person that beat me was myself, because after my fights with Nelson, I broke all those rules and I broke all those protocols that I'd set for myself. I thought, wow, I'm rich, I'm famous, I can go out and do this stuff and I'll still get away with it, I'm still nobody can beat me. But how wrong I was. But listen, like I said, as wrong as I was, Darcy, it's mostly the best thing that happened to me. Losing was the best thing without doubt that happened to me. It made me realise who I wasn't invincible, who my real friends were, because when you win, you walk in the dressing room and there's no room, it's just full. But when I lost, there was plenty of room, you know, and it made me think and it made me wonder, and then it taught me the most amazing, valuable lessons that I've ever learned. So, you know, but like I said, to be good at anything, you got to be good at everything. You can't just be good. You got to. I honestly believe discipline doesn't just start at the gym. Discipline starts at home. You know, my training sessions didn't start at 3 every afternoon. They started before I went to bed. So I went to bed at the right time, woke up at the right time. I ate what I was allowed to eat because I was always watching my weight. And so it's more than just the training. It's more than just, you know, being an athlete. And to be a great athlete, you've got to be a special person. We've got to be a great person in many ways.
They say it's hard to get success, but harder to maintain success. I was watching an interview with Dana White where he's talking about Conor McGregor and saying like he feels McGregor now, with the billions that he's worth, would never be the same fighter as McGregor coming up. But then during the interview, they also spoke about, you know, athletes like Tom Brady that had made hundreds of millions, but still, again, like Floyd Mayweather, they made all this money, but still were putting on career best performances beyond the money. Do you think it takes a special type of person to get that success and then continue? And also, do you feel like people's motivation changes throughout the course of their life? Like one time it could have been about money, but then beyond 100 million, is it still about money? Is it about legacy? What has been your experience with that, not only with yourself, but some of the successful people that you've been around?
Well, without doubt, we just spoke about Conor McGregor's and so on, and then we spoke about the Bradys and other. Conor McGregor's on his own out there. Brady's got a full team helping him. So, I mean, that obviously plays a part, but still, to be as successful as Tom Brady has been, and takes a lot out of you. But like I said, the individual sport's always much more difficult than the team sport, I believe. Without any doubt, like I said, you're on your own out there, so nobody can help you. You can't have a little rest for a round, because if you have a rest, you're gonna, you know, anything can happen in boxing. But look, I honestly believe that the great ones are the great ones, and all the great ones that I know had the same work ethic, and you know, like I said, look at Michael Jordan. Hear the stories about Michael Jordan, how he pushed his teammates, and even fought with him. He abused him, because he expected everybody to be able to do what he could do. And I was like that a lot. Even when I began boxing training, I thought everybody should train how Jeff Fenech. But there's only one Jeff Fenech. There's only one Lester Ellis. There's only one Barry. We're all different. We're all individuals. So you got to treat people as individuals and work on what you think's going to make them great at what they're trying to achieve.
Do you think people like that, like some of the great people that you mentioned, do you think they're born or do you think they're made, or is it a combination of both?
No, I think, like I said, I think that we're all born with the gift, but then, anybody can give you $100 million, you can go and blow it in 1 second as a gift, or anybody can give you a gift, and it's how you receive the gift and how you work with it. And like I said, sit your daddy and ask him what he went through to become world champion. I watched him, I admired what he went through. I, used to watch him and think, I wish I could, do what he done. And, the only way that I thought I could do that was by leaving everything else that I'd done and concentrating on being a full-time boxer. That's what I done.
Absolutely. And in kind of the 80s, early 90s, it was like the golden era in Australian boxing with obviously, yourself, Barry Michael, my dad, Lester Ellis, among other great fighters. I feel like now we're entering in a new golden era of Australian boxing with people like George Kambosos, Liam Parra that had a great win the other day, Sky Nicholson, Tim Tszyu. Do you feel like we are in another golden era in Australian boxing? And what does the future look like for Australian boxing?
You left one out, Jai Patea, who I believe is the best boxer in Australia by a million miles.
Yep.
I watched him spar for the first time because I managed Jai and looked after him at the start of his career, and I watched him have one spar and I thought, wow, this kid is, he's got everything. He's got this amazing eye. And back then he had sore hands, so he wasn't the hardest puncher, but I thought that, wow, this kid's going to be special, and he's proven that today. But like I said, I don't know, I think boxing's different, and I mean, like I said, like I said, we talked with George Kambosos, Tim Tszyu, and all these other guys. But like I said, I think that boxing's a little different today. It's all this social media and stuff. So, and like I said, all the money they make, which is great, because I don't begrudge anybody from making money. But I just think that, it's changed the sport. And it like I said, George was world champion for one fight. He won the world title. I mean, when he beat, I don't know, I'm just an honest guy. When he beat Maxie Hughes, do you think he beat, is your opinion, did you think he won against Max Hughes? I don't. And I think 99% of the population don't think he won that. I mean, he had a rematch with Devin Haney. Maybe he won 2 rounds. He had another, he fought Lemachenko, he might have won a round. I mean, they're just best in this day and age. And he was, listen, what he done against Teofimo Lopez was one of the most special occasions in Australian boxing. It's up there with Jeff Harding beating Dennis Andres. But like I said, it's Frank Sinatra's famous for saying it's not about how famous you are at the time, it's how long you can stay famous for, And longevity's everything. I mean, that's when you know if you're a real champion. I mean, I was bantamweight champion, I defended 3 times. I was super bantamweight champion, I defended 3 times undefeated. I was featherweight champion, defended 3 times undefeated. And then, I got carried away with what I was achieving, and had that first fight with Nelson, and I knew again I won that fight no problem. And then all of a sudden, I got more money than I ever got and more success than I ever had. And instead of waking up at 5 in the morning, I thought, that's all right if I wake up at 7 or 8 or 9. As long as I run, it's all the same. And instead of eating at home every day like I cooked for myself, I was eating out because I thought that'd be all right. And then all of a sudden, you get a kick up the backside, and you learn straight away. And I mean, like I said, again, would I want to change anything? There's lots of things I want to change. You can't. So I just, I just use all of those things as experiences, and they've made me a better person. The person I am today is not the undefeated guy. If I was that undefeated guy today, I wouldn't even be sitting here with you. I'd be somewhere spending more money than I've ever spent before. But because I suffered defeat and learnt my lessons from that, I'm here as humble as I should be, and as humble as I always should have been. But there was times where I thought I was bigger, better than anybody, because I was this person everybody loved and admired, which is bullshit. It shouldn't have, it happens.
Absolutely. And you spoke about your great career, Jeff, and all the incredible things you've accomplished. How do you think the boxers of today compare against the boxers of the past? You mentioned that obviously the sport has changed and evolved. I know you're quite passionate about this topic. How do you feel, let's say, if you just compare them as fighters or as athletes? Do you think they're better now, they're worse? Are they just different and they're hard to compare?
It's great to say that. I think maybe they're better athletes today because there's so much more things that have opened up and people are learning every day. But and I don't want to say it because people think that I dislike him, but I don't. Would George Kambosos go 3 rounds with Lester Ellis? No way in the world. And he beat one of the greatest fighters in Teofimo Lopez. And Teofimo's a great fighter. I honestly believe that Teofimo could have fought in any era and had success. But on that occasion, he just thought he was going to win. His dad, I was in Vegas. He was out out in the night. I'm not saying he was drinking, but he was out at functions that we were at with the WBC, and his dad telling everybody he's going to knock him out in 1 round. And again, he beat himself that day. Like I said, do I think the fighters? Yeah. Look, I think we've got some special ones. I think Tim Zhu's really, really special. I think that Jai Apataya is really, really special. I think Sky is doing an amazing job, and she's blessed that she's being promoted really, really well. But I mean, when I look at it overall and I look at the fighters of yesteryear, like Skinny Hussain and Hassi Hussain, and those guys would have been world champions today without any doubt. And like I said, and no disrespect to George, and I mean, I'm bringing him up because, he wouldn't have, I don't know, asked your dad what he thinks, does he think, does he think that George could have, went the distance with Lester? Not a chance in the world. And that's not me having to go at George. You ask me a question, I just want to be honest, And George already hates me, so he can hate me a little more. So none of that bothers me. I don't care if people love me or hate me, as long as I know who I am. There's only one judge, that's the mirror. I look at that and be proud of myself every day.
Absolutely. And in terms of the sport itself, Jeff, and the fighters coming up now, you mentioned you think they're better athletes as far as, I'm assuming, better nutrition, better strength and conditioning. They can probably, run faster and longer. And
about that. None of
But one thing I was going to say, do you think, I guess, boxing different to other sports? Because there's the argument to be like, oh, well, the runners of today would beat the runners of whatever, 1960, 1970. But I don't know if that's a fair comparison because boxing is not really like that. There's an element of, okay, it's not always the fittest or the strongest or the person that eats the most broccoli that wins. Like you said, a lot has to do up here. When you look at Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, the 15-round fights that they had, more punch output, more spectacular shots, better knockouts. You just look at the two human beings and think, okay, if these two people are in a room, who would win? And most people would agree the guys that came up in the 80s, like Sugar Ray Leonard, Hearns, compared to the fighters of today.
I have no doubt. And one of the things where they have a little bit of a head start on us, we starved. I never drank for days. These guys have got these people today that make them drink all this water, and I never drank water for days and days on end. And my mouth was the morning of the fight, I couldn't even open my mouth. My tongue was all cut up. But like I said, good luck to them all. But I'm just saying. But I also think that, like I said, it's not about winning one fight. It's longevity. It's how many fights you win and how long you hold that title for. And if you look at the Ray Leonards, like you said, the Hearns and the Haglers and the Roberto Durans, And listen, I'm going to say this as well. Barry Michael, he was a different beast. He was he just was this tough guy who could go through pain, losing weight, and still the next day or the same day we weighed in the same day. So it wasn't like the next day where we had 40 hours to weigh in, hydrate, and be ready. We had 12 hours, 8 hours. So I think the fighters today, especially some of the ones in Australia, have reason to be a little disappointed that they were born in the wrong era.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's your opinion? I guess in today's world, everything's about mass production. So if you look at, the houses from the 1800s, the 1900s, they're so well built. They take their time so much more. Do you think there's an element of that in boxing where fighters might be rushed or they might be pushed or they're more so focused on social media and their brand versus being in the gym and focusing on the art of boxing? Do you think that kind of plays a difference between boxing before and boxing now?
Definitely so. You look at Barry Michael, how long he fought before he got a world title. I got it in my 7th fight again because I had this amazing promoter who was willing to gamble on me, and the gamble was great. But like I said, today there are guys fighting for the world title. There was one in his first fight. I mean, there are guys who, it's different if they've got ability, but all these guys that you're seeing that are winning these world titles really early, they're losing them just as quick. So it's different. They don't have the same hunger as we had because speaking to your dad today, and he took a heart attack when he was talking about how much money he earned from boxing, being such an amazing, great fighter. I mean, when you talk about being robbed, I mean, well, yeah, your dad wasn't robbed, he was raped. And it's sad, but like I said, the world's changed, and good luck to all these other guys that are making hundreds of millions. I just hope they look after and remember how they got there, and look after the people they're supposed to look after.
Yeah, and management is always a thing in boxing. You mentioned that you had great management, but I feel like back in the day, if you were a world champion, you were the best in that division, or you were the man in that division. Where these days, I guess that's the way of the world. Money talks, and even though you're not necessarily the best fighter, if you have the right management, if you have the right following on social media, if you can put bums on seats, you can be a world champion without necessarily fighting the best. It's obviously great for the fighter and great that they're making more money. Do you think that's hurt the sport in the last kind of 20, 30 years?
Yeah, definitely so. They don't talk about the two best fighters fighting anymore. They look at who's more popular, who's going to put more bumps on seats, and that's the promoters are all about making money. I mean, that's been promoters all their lives. But like I said, it's sad because, like I said, there are a lot of people who missed the boat, who missed the chance. You can feel sorry for them. But like I said, then the guys who make it or who jump on that boat, you got to give them a clap for being able to do it without doing the hard work that everybody else done. So, but that's just the world we live in today. It's so strange. I mean, think about a lot of other things that I won't bring up. But yeah, the world is so different today. I mean, I think the world back in our time was a better place because we knew we had to work hard to achieve, and we all were prepared to roll our sleeves up every day and work hard. Where some of these guys in today's day and age, yeah, they don't have to do half the work that we done. And I love that I worked hard to achieve what I achieved.
Do you think, I guess, even beyond boxing, Jeff, that the values of today in the modern society is very different from the values when you came up?
Wow, I mean, that's not even the question of asked. Like I said, and no disrespect to anybody, like I said, this world that we live in today is, yeah, it's different. I mean, you know, we accept certain things that nobody would have accepted back in the day. They've changed the Bible, they've changed this, they've changed that, they've changed the rules, they've changed the law. I mean, is it for the better? Now listen, as long as people are happy, I'm happy. I'm not worried what happens in the world. But like I said, there are a lot of things that they haven't changed that should be changed as well. So I mean, like I said, I'm no politician or no person that is going to change the world. But like I said, I much preferred the world we lived in 20 years ago, where you worked hard and you appreciated it, you're with your trainer Johnny Lewis and you love him and you're loyal to him. My code is loyalty, and that's all gone these days. You know, you see fighters, have different trainers. I'm just going to bring somebody up again that had 5 trainers in 5 fights, but I won't bring his name up. But the world's changed, and good luck to him. He's making massive amounts of money, and yeah, good luck to him.
Do you think, with what you said, that you had people like Johnny Lewis to look up to, do you think part of the reason why I guess the world is what it is because the youth, their role models are different to what they were 20, 30 years ago? I can speak from my own experience. My little brother, he's looking at people on YouTube and stuff, and what they do on YouTube is just anything to get views. So they're doing silly things in shopping centres, they're disturbing the peace. He's into a stage at the moment where people drive electric motorbikes and they're doing wheelies on the main road. So that's his idols, that's what he looks up to. In turn, that obviously affects his behaviour. Whereas, 20, 30, 40 years ago, I'm assuming my dad looked up to Barry Michael in the gym, or he had, another great fighter, or, every now and again he might get a tape of Muhammad Ali, and that's the only thing that he's seen and he loved, and that kind of drove his behaviour in the sense to be like that. Whereas nowadays kids have access to everything and they're looking up to people that it's not even their real self on YouTube, they're just doing it to get views. Probably who they are as people is totally different, Do you think that's an element as far as why some of the traditional values have changed?
Oh, without doubt, as a father, I don't like any of it, but that's what's out there. I talk to my daughters about doing certain things. This person does this. So, you're talking to a brick wall. And these days you can't even talk to your kids because if you say too much, you can get in trouble for that as well. So back in the day when I said something wrong to my dad, but that belt came off, and I copped it. And I think that's why I had that will and drive to to become who I became. Today, these kids are all spoiled and they get everything for nothing. Nobody can give them a smack when they deserve one at school and at home. So the world's changed.
Do you feel like the world, and particularly the youth, needs discipline, and something like a boxing would be very beneficial to them, to whether it's incorporated in schools, whether it's boxing or another form of martial art, or just something that instills discipline?
I think that every school in the world should have, for me it's boxing, because boxing is where you use the two, the two most important tools. But like I said, and I think that they should have it, because in this day and age, there are a lot of bullies out there. People, you hear about people committing suicide every day. Friends of mine and friends of other friends. I mean, why do they do it? I mean, if they had that confidence and they could go and stand up for themselves, I believe that it would stop a lot of suicide. A lot of suicide. And I believe that every school should teach some form of self-defense. And that's, I've got to let you know, Darcy, that's why I loved when I first seen you and seeing what you were doing. And I was a follower of yours, I was a fan. You're out here helping people in wheelchairs, you're helping the normal person, you're helping everybody. And I mean, all these bags, they take people off the street and they bring them here, they teach them discipline, they love doing what they're doing. And if you love doing something, you'll go back the next day. And like I said, the world has changed, and I don't believe it's changed for the better. I think the world's much worse than it was, And I think it's only going to get worse. Yeah. I don't think it's going to get any better.
I'm very grateful, Jeff, because I grew up obviously with my dad being a world champion, and every day waking up to our trophy room, and whatever I tried to do growing up, I always thought in my mind that I'm going to try to be the best at. I'm going to try to be a world champion at this particular thing. Through the course of life, obviously, I've tried different things, etc., to lead me to the point where I'm at today. I was very lucky because my dad obviously was a world champion, so I had a great role model. I obviously looked up to people like yourself. I would like to know, who was your role model growing up, whether that's boxing or anything else? And did you get a chance to, well, I guess one or two things, obviously you mentioned Johnny Lewis. Did you have, I guess, a role model or someone that you idolized that you didn't necessarily meet, whether it was a fighter or something like that? And did you ever get the chance to meet them?
No, well, I've been pretty blessed. I've met everybody that I've wanted to meet. But I think the question you ask about a role model, again, I never boxed in my life, so I never really wanted to be like any fighter. When I started the fight, of course, I loved Roberto Duran, I loved Mike Tyson, so been blessed to have met them both. I love basketball. I've been blessed to have met Jordan, was at my fight. LeBron James. I've been blessed to travel the world and be able to meet people. But like I said, I don't know. I've just been blessed to have worked hard, and like I said, some of the things that I've got to be able to do is a reward for my success and a reward for my hard work. So, I'm very, very proud of that.
One thing I'm continuing to learn about you, Jeff, is as you mentioned, your ability to network, build relationships, make friends. How important do you think that skill has been throughout the course of your career and throughout the course of your life?
I tell everybody the most important tool that we all, is our mouth. I mean, if you can talk properly, you can get into a fight, you can get out of a fight, you can get into trouble, you can get out of trouble. So I try to think, like I said, the mouth, what operates it? Where does the sentence come from? It comes from your brain. So it's just being smart. I'm trying to think that over all the years I've been around some great people, some smart people. I've been blessed. Spoke to James Pax today and he invited me onto his boat later on in the year. But I trained his dad. I travelled the world with Kerry and watched what a generous and amazing man he was. And with the money that he had, it was the world's. It wasn't just his. Whoever was with him, he looked after. People he didn't know, he looked after, and it taught me a lot. I've been around people who agree to yourself. I've been around people who are great, and I know who I want to be. I want to be somebody who is able to share my success, share my story, share my everything. I mean, if I'm at a restaurant and see somebody drinking a wine, I've got I give them some of mine because I can buy another one. So I want them to make sure they have a memory that, oh wow, Jeff Fenech done something beautiful for me. And that's what I think life's about, Darcy. I've told you many times, life's not about how many houses you own, because they're not going with you when you go. But life's about how many memories you have and how many beautiful memories you can leave behind about yourself. And I'm trying to work really hard on doing that while I'm still here.
Absolutely. And how, as far as memories, How do people play into that? Obviously with memories, typically they're better when they're shared with people. How have you, I guess, implemented that in the course of your life? Like, again, talking about the relationships that you've built, how much of an importance do you put on, I guess, the people that you have around you?
I think it's the most important. I think that the biggest thing I tell anybody in life now, and I've learned that through what I went through, if you're around good people, good things happen. People don't talk bad about good people. Although they do, there's these jealous people who always, but listen, when you're around good people and you're doing good things, and you get positivity, and when you're around negative people who are doing wrong things, you get negativity. So I've been pretty blessed later on in my life now that I'll be around who I want to be around, and most of that time they're good people, and I try to make that all the time. But there are times where people come up and meet you, and whatever they do, But I just say hello, and I try to be nice to everybody. And I think the thing that's helped me the most in my life was my wife. I think I've been blessed to have met an amazing wife, partner, friend that, of course I'm definitely not perfect at home, but she knows me. She has known me for a long, long time. So she sometimes can put up with me, sometimes she can't, but we always, at the end of it, we make up. And like I said, I've been married now 28 years. I'll never forget the day that I got married. Some of the people in the room walking around with a board with the odds that I've been married for 3, 6 or 9 months was max. And I've done 28 years now, and so I'm proud of myself for that, Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And one relationship that I'm sure you get a lot of questions about is your relationship with Mike Tyson. You've trained Mike Tyson a number of times. What's one thing about Mike that has that you learned from Mike that stuck with you till this day, whether that's in boxing or just in life?
Yeah, no, that he's very, very loyal to the people that deserve loyalty. He's crazy generous. I mean, when I say, that's the word, crazy generous, because back in the day, he just would give his money to anybody. I'm sure he's much smarter now, and again, he learns from his lessons. And he's got an amazing wife in Kiki, and she's the brains behind the family. I'm sure of that. But like I said, I've been on a plane with him where I was sitting in first class, and I fell asleep, woke up, and he's gone. I'm sitting next to an old lady that he gave his seat to. I've seen him give money to people in the street and just give them enough money that'll last them a month. Just go home. Don't be in the street for. So and like I said, I've also been around him through highs and lows, and he's my friend. So I mean, like I said, he gave me the opportunity to train one of the greatest fighters in history. And he tells a story that he watched me train some of the little guys, and he didn't think that I could do it. And then, he was really, really proud of me. So like that, all that stuff makes me proud of myself, and makes me acknowledge that I can be with you, Darcy. I can be with a kid from the street, like be with my retarded friend Connor, I love, and to this day I'm with him every single day. I'd ring him every day, 4 or 5 times a day, and I can be with Kerry Packer and still be the same Jeff Fenech, and that's a quality that I love.
Absolutely. And obviously when we think of Mike Tyson, we think of the killer, we think of people that, knocks people out in a round or 2 rounds, and a real kind of aggressive and violent person in the ring. I'm sure you would have some preconceived idea of, how Mike would be like before you got to spend time with him. What was one thing that surprised you when you were, again, training him and you get to know him, get to know him as a person outside of boxing?
Again, it was that soft side, and everybody that I took to meet him, Billy Dib, I don't know if he told you, but Billy Dib, I took Billy to train in America, and he met Mike, and Mike was great to him. I mean, I can mention hundreds and hundreds of names that I introduced to Mike, and he was beautiful to all of them. No, but the only thing about all these guys I've taken there, every time he goes there, Mike will be smoking his weed. And they all smoke, they've never smoked weed, and they all smoke, and I have to just about carry him out of his house. But me, like I said, no, there's no weed for me. I'll tell you a great story about Mike. I was in his room talking to him one day, and he was telling me, because he loves his pigeons, and he was telling me a story about some of his rollers rolling, hitting the floor. Anyway, so the next day we're together, and he's in his garage with all his pigeons, and he's smoking all this weed, and I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I'm just about stoned, just sitting here. And I thought to myself, listen, these pigeons are rolling. Mike, the pigeons are stoned. You're smoking all that weed, and you let them out the fly. They're hitting the floor. These pigeons know where the floor is. But some of Mike's had lost control because I think they inhaled too much weed.
They might have been flying a bit.
No, the rollers, they were hitting the floor. They know when to stop, mate. Trust me, those pigeons know when to stop, but not when they're stoned.
There you go. That's hilarious. And I heard you tell this story before, Jeff, but when you were spending time with Mike, did he have his tiger at that time, and did you have any encounters with him?
Yeah, I've had a couple of encounters. I'll tell you two great stories. Well, first time, Mike locks me in the cage with the big tigers, and I'm going, wow, I'm standing there thinking, don't be frightened, because if you show a dog, if you show a dog you're scared, he's going to bite you and bark at you. So I'm trying to be as brave as I could, but it didn't last long. He got me out of there, which was great, and we had a bit of a word to each other. But he said, it's all right, Jeff, it's all right, don't be scared here. And I'm just about to shit my pants. And then there's another story that's really great. My daughter went to Mike's house with me, and he had a baby jaguar and the tigers at the house, and my daughter's patting them and all this stuff. It was just after the holidays, so when we got back home, she went to school and she told the story. And I get a call from the teacher saying, Mr. Fenech, you need to come to the school. I said, what's the problem? I just need to see you. So I get to the school, and this teacher says, listen, your daughter's been here this morning telling everybody that she was patting these tigers and she had got photos. It's not a good thing, like to say, what do you mean? It's not a good thing. Why? And then I took the photos. So she took photos of the school to show the kids that she was with Mike's tigers, and yeah, she was allowed to tell her story, because nobody believed her. They thought she was making up stories about patting these tigers and playing with this baby tiger and stuff like that. But yeah, so yeah. But Mike's just so good to everybody. Like everybody's welcome.
Yeah, and obviously it's known that Mike is a bit of a boxing historian and studied, is a real student of the game and studied a lot of great fighters, past and present. I remember hearing him speak, and he would speak about how he would study a lot of the lighter fighters and copy their moves and train like them. And then he was able to do that as a heavyweight.
That's why he became so good, because he watched me. Nah. But listen, that was the first time I met him. Just to say that he's walking into the Hilton at Las Vegas, was getting some awards right then. It was the boxer of the year, I got the runner-up boxer in the world, and I'm waiting to go to the dais to pick my award up, and Mike Tyson arrives late, and he seen me, and he recognised who I was, and man, it was the biggest thrill ever. Like, here's this, I've never been to America then, it was like 1987. Jeff Fenech, you're my favourite fighter, and all this. So it was crazy. I loved it, yeah.
Absolutely. And I think, again, thinking about Mike Tyson, you think he's just this, this machine, and he's ruthless, but seeing how intelligent he is and how much of a student of the game he is. When you think of Mike, you think, I guess, general consensus, like the general population that doesn't know boxing, they don't necessarily see the art in it. They just see this angry guy that's going there and kills people. But in order to go in there and kill people, like you said, you have to have the brains, and that didn't just come by accident. That came from him, studying all these great fighters. And just to show how diverse his knowledge is, obviously the experience that you had with Mike when he noticed you straight away. Most recently, we were surprised that he mentioned my dad in an interview that said he used to, watch Lester. He's like, I used to watch Roberto Duran, yourself, everybody. Lester Ellis. And we're like, it's crazy that Mike, many years later would watch Australian world champions. How diverse is Mike's boxing knowledge, and how much do you rate his IQ?
Forget about his boxing knowledge, just his knowledge about the conquerors of the world, he knows everything. He just sits down and he'll tell you a story, then something will come from this story that, this guy ruled the world, or this guy had every lady. He's obviously spent a lot of time reading and studying in depth. Like I said, it's not just that where he looks at photos and stuff, he reads about it, and he knows the history of all the rulers of the world. He knows the history of all the greatest fighters of the world, and that's why I mentioned Lester Ellis and Jeff Fenech. He knows the greatest.
Absolutely. And in addition to training Mike Tyson, Jeff, you've also trained other mega successful people. Mark Boris, who you were nice enough to introduce me to a couple of years back, as well as Kerry Packer, as you mentioned. What's one or two common traits that you think all successful people have?
I'm happy you said that, because what we were talking about earlier about having that, in everything that we do, having that greatness or trying to be great at everything we do. Man, I train Mark Boris. He trains like a beast every single day still to this day. He's an amazing man, but he's one of those, again, this guy that you love to be around, because you train him and he'll talk to you about a few things and gives you this amazing knowledge for everyday life. And like Kerry Pack was exactly the same. Kerry would always want to do more. I want him to do more, I want to do more. No, my secret that I told you, it's better to be a little bit underdone than to be overdone. If I killed him every afternoon, he's not going to be back there for me the next day. So I always stick by a rule that it's better to be a little underdone, because then you can push yourself. Because if the motor's burnt out, the motor doesn't work anymore. But if the motor's got room, you can push that motor a little bit harder. And it was amazing. Like I said, the things I've seen Kerry and learned from Kerry, and what I still learn from Mark Boros, which is to this day. And then I was blessed that did some stuff with Shane Warne, Alan Border, and Warney was a close friend of mine. I really admired Warney. He even gave me the opportunity once when he was training in India to be the fitness trainer for his cricket team, but I couldn't go. But I've been blessed to have been able to meet everybody I wanted to, or not everybody I wanted to, but just people by coincidence that were great to talk to and great to meet.
You mentioned Mark Boros, Kerry Packer. Typically when you train them, they'd give 110% and they would always want to do more. They also say with fighters that, if you as a trainer have to tell the fighter to go to the gym, typically they're not going to reach, a certain level of greatness. You have to tell the fighter not to go to the gym because you want them to have a rest. Do you think that, I guess, element there is the same across all areas of life? It's typically the people that you have to tell to pull up are the ones that take it the furthest.
Yeah, without doubt. But then again, as a trainer, it's for you to know whether this guy needs to do a little bit more or a little bit less. I mean, I walked in the gym every day of my life. Johnny Lewis never said to me, "Did you run in the morning? Have you done this?" Because my gym work proved that I didn't need to do anything. So and that was my job as well. Like I said, about making Johnny proud of me. So I always made sure that he was never going to ask me a question or, did I do this or did I do that? Because everything he asked me to do, I could do. But no, it's really important what you just said. It's really, really important.
Looking back at your incredible career, Jeff, what's one or two highlight moments for you that you think stand out above the rest?
I think one of my highlights was getting chosen to represent Australia at the Olympics, especially with 25 fights, fighting guys who had 300 and so. But then, I don't know, there's no fight that really stands out. But then I say my fight against Zuma Nelson when he beat me, that's most probably the best thing that ever happened to me. Yeah, without any doubt at all. I learnt that I was no bigger or no better than anybody else. If it takes a loss for you to learn that, I think sometimes it's good to learn.
If you had to do it all over again, is there anything that you'd do differently?
There's a lot of things I'd do differently, but guess what? We can't do it all over again, so let's forget about it.
Good answer. Today is actually the 33-year anniversary of your first fight against Zuma Nelson in Vegas. What was that moment like, preparing for it, going out there, putting, potentially a career best performance, and then not to come out, obviously, with the result that you wanted? Do you think that affected your career?
Oh, without doubt. But listen, it's crazy that you say that, because everybody thinks it was my career best fight. I think it was my worst fight. Not in a bad way, because while I was over, I got sick while I was in Vegas because I was pushing myself too hard. I was running and it was really windy at the time, and I was doing 3-minute Ks, and I thought that I was flat that night. And that, I'm just being honest, but that changed my life a lot. Well, straight after that fight, I went on to make more money in one fight than I made for my whole career, which people can think is good, but like I said, to me, none of that money's come with me when I go. It's obviously be here for my children and stuff, but like I said, I don't want my children to think that they don't need nothing, they don't have to do anything on their own either, which is a scary, thought when I think of what I'm going to leave for my children. But like I said, they're my children, so I've got no problem with that. But like I said, I'm just happy to have gone through what I went through and learned what I learned, and I'm more than happy. The thing that makes me the happiest is I'm sitting here with you today, and I'm being able to hopefully spread a message that's really, really positive. For me to say that the best thing happened to me in my boxing career was losing against Zuma Nelson, it's a big thing. But it made me the person I am today. I wouldn't be here today. Just know that I would not be here sitting on this chair if I was 4-time world champion, undefeated, and made another 20 million, 30 million, or 5 million. I wouldn't be here today. So I'm blessed because I'm sitting here with a beautiful young man that's doing great things for his community, and yeah, I'm blessed to be here sitting beside you.
Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate the kind words. And one thing I'd like to ask, and this is something that I admire about you a lot, it's obviously been a number of years since you boxed, and we often see athletes, in particularly boxers, who go off the wrong path after their career and, you know, their life ends up taking a turn for the worst. How have you been able to stay on the straight and narrow, and how do you, you know, stay positive? And
it's not an easy thing to do, but like I said, because you've got all these eyes on you, and it's different if Jeff Fenech does something to if Joe Brown does something. You know, people, you know, and today, especially in this day and age, with cameras and stuff like that, like, wow, I just think of me and my team. If those cameras were around, wow, I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, the world was different. You were able to enjoy yourself back in the. Now you've got to be careful. You can enjoy yourself, and there's no problem, but you've got to be really careful with what you say, what you do, and where you go. But with me, like I said again, I put it down to being married to a really special person, and if I get an invite to an opening, if they don't have my wife's name, I don't even return the call. I don't return the invitation. She's part of my life. They know I'm married, so if they want me to be somewhere, they invite her. I don't go. So, but like I said, doesn't mean I'm the perfect husband. Let me tell you that. But I'm blessed to have good people around me, and have a mother that loves her husband, loves her children, and you know, never walk into a dirty house in my life. Dinner whenever we wanted. Yeah, so everything's great.
At this point in your life, Jeff, what wakes you up in the morning, and what are you most excited about?
What wakes me up? I'm not a real good sleeper, so I'm always awake. But just to see the day. I've had two operations in the last 5 years that most people wouldn't have survived. Had the boys not had a key to my room 5 years ago and brought the ambulance to my room, I'd be dead. This time, had I not been at a hospital and had this amazing surgeon by the name of Paul Bannon and his team there, I don't think I'd be alive again. So I don't know if I'm a cat with a few lives, but I'd rather be a dog with a few lives, because I'm not a cat lover. But I don't know. I just I believe in karma, and I believe that all these good things that I do, as well as, you know, I'm not perfect, but I think that I'm here for a reason. I'm still able to, make people happy, give people great memories, and pass on advice, and hopefully will help people in the future. And that's what I'm here to do.
Absolutely. And what goes through someone's mind, Jeff, where one day you're healthy, you're training yourself, you're training the boys, and the next day you're having life-threatening, you know, major heart surgery? What's kind of the thought process? Are you thinking, is it all kind of just one big blur?
No. You're thinking, why me? And then, you know, maybe all those little things I've done when I was, and then I think, wow, then people talk about, we're saying prayers for, and saying, why did God put me in that position? Well, they put you there for a reason. I'm quite obvious. But like I said, I'm just, I look at life every day, and I think that every day you wake up and you see that light, be happy to get that opportunity and go out and enjoy yourself. And as long as you're not just enjoying you're giving other people enjoyment, then you're kind of welcome in the world. People love that, that person being around. And that's how I feel. Like I said, my two operations were pretty horrific. And if somebody said to me again today, would you rather be alive or dead? I'd much prefer to be dead than to go what I went through what I went through, without any doubt. What I went through in my last couple of months were pretty horrific. I was hallucinating, thought my daughter was trying to kill me, and crazy things. And like I said, I wouldn't wish that upon anybody, and I don't know why it's happening to me, but it's happened, and I've fought it and I've beat it. But like I said, I'd hate to have to go through it again. I wouldn't go through it again. I don't know, I'd do something to myself prior to getting this chest cut open again.
How has what you've gone through, Jeff, in the last number of months, and obviously through both surgeries, how has that affected your outlook on life?
The craziest thing is, Darcy, the first time it happened to me, in 9 days I was on a plane going to my daughter's wedding. This time, the first day that they told me I could do something, I was in the gym. They told me to kind of do things lightly. It's really hard for me because I'm looking at a clock and a speedometer thinking, man, this is nowhere near what I could do. So I'm like like I said, I'm so happy to be here. But yeah, I'm one of those crazy guys that's always challenging himself. Even so, when I first got out of hospital, they told me not to train hard. Not that I trained hard, but I still did what I'm sure that they wouldn't have wanted me to do. I challenged myself, I pushed myself, and I'm feeling better and better every day, so I'm pushing myself more and more every day. And yeah, I'm down in Melbourne doing a couple of talks over the next couple of days and doing some stuff with this amazing company called HitFit. So I'm very, very honoured to be even invited here with you guys. I'm honoured to be part of what you're doing, and I can't wait to see when you've got 5 or 6 or 10 or 20 of these all around Australia, because like I said, what you represent is what we need out in the community. It's showing love, it's enjoyment, it's training, it's teaching you to have confidence in yourself, and that's why I'm so honoured to be part of this organisation, HitFit.
Thanks, Jeff. And one of our mantras is that we fight for the underdog. So we want to be a gym for everybody, as you mentioned, and not only that, the people that might not be comfortable to walk to a normal gym or a gym where they want to.
They don't have the confidence. Like I said, I mean, I've seen you at your gyms. I've seen the people that you get to the gym, and a lot of those people don't leave their front door. They're a little embarrassed. They're in wheelchairs, so and so. But everybody's welcome here, which is one of the main reasons why I try to join up with you guys. I'm looking forward to no more heart attacks and being able to come down and help these people and make HitFit get bigger and better.
What advice would you give to someone, Jeff, that might be on the fence, might be thinking about whether it's HitFit or another boxing gym, but they have a bit of a scratch or a bit of an itch to want to go and do something, but it's being intimidated and fears holding them back? What advice would you give to someone?
Go and talk to the person, the trainer, the team before you enroll, before you join. You will find out when you're talking to somebody how you communicate. Like again, voice and communication, mine is everything. If you walk into somewhere and you talk to you, Darcy, yeah, I've come back to do things with you because I can appreciate what you're trying to do. And if these people know, like I said, if they just go there and train, for me, that's not the secret. The secret is first sitting somebody down, asking them what they want, and not promising that you can do it, because they've got to want to do it. And unless they want to do it, it's not going to work. So you've got to get that communication and saying, this is what we need to do, this is how you need to do it. Then they've got a little thing in their mind, hey, if I do that, I'm going to, and then they go and do it. And like I said, I know that's what you do here at HitFit, and that's my advice to anybody, is to go out and sit down and talk to the person that you're going to work for. And this is work, this is enjoyment, but the person that you're going to pay to go and be, you got to know if you love it, if you like it. And if you only like it, it's not good. You've got to love going back there every day. If you love going back there, which I'm sure you will with all your gyms, they'll have their lives will change.
That was my next question, Jeff. Do you think boxing as a sport, or even just as a form of exercise, has the ability to transform someone's life and completely turn it around for the better?
Without doubt, I'm walking proof of it. Like I said, I would be dead today, or I'd be in jail. I'm not. I'm here talking. I'm sharing my message and sharing some love and support for somebody else who's doing great things. And that's what life's about, being able to do that. And there's not a chance in the world I would have done that if I didn't meet Johnny Lewis and box.
One thing that's becoming more and more apparent with some of our members, Jeff, is initially, let's say a few years back, a lot of people were coming down for physical reasons, to lose weight, to get fit, to get healthy, which is obviously amazing. We're finding now it's slowly shifting to people's mental health, where of course they want the physical benefits, but they have to do something. They need to exercise, they need some type of outlet, whether it's the stresses of life or getting busy. And it seems like the pandemic we're in at the moment is more so to do with mental health.
But you know how we all talk about making a call and calling your friend, but listen, you don't have to call your friend when you're at any gym. Let's just say, hey, how are you, mate? I've got this bit of a problem. Yeah, when you're with friends and you're doing something, you're all doing the same thing, you can express yourself, you can express your feelings. And this is what gyms do. They give you the opportunity not to sit at home, to come out here and talk and ask somebody for help or ask somebody for their opinion. And that's why gyms are so great.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what advice would you give to someone, Jeff, that may just be in a dark place at the moment, whether it's mentally or obviously, there's a lot going on in the world at the moment where they're struggling financially, and if they're, questioning whether I know it sounds a little bit morbid, but if they want to be here, you know, what advice would you give to someone like that?
And I say this, I know it's a funny thing that I say, listen, for all the things that I've gone through and for all the people that I see that need a bit of help, I go to Thailand a lot and I see these people every 20 metres there's somebody begging them, no clothes, they're black, dirty. I don't wash them, but I'll give them money to go there. Or as I walk down the street in Bangkok, I'll give money to every single person that is sitting on the street. Now, I mean, is that good? I don't know if it's good or bad, but all I'm trying to say is for everybody that has a problem, there's somebody with a worse problem. So just think of that and think of how they get over it and what they're doing to beat the situation. And like I said, we live in the greatest country in the world. We got everything if we want it. So my advice to the people out there that are in this dark spot is to want something. Know what you want. Find out what you want. Get the right team around or be with the right people to make sure you can achieve it and get it. So that's my advice.
As an extension of that, Jeff, I've been thinking about this a lot now that my little brother is coming into them formative years at 16, 17 years old and trying different things and being a silly bugger, to speak quite frankly. And I think, again, I probably went through a similar period around that age, and a lot of boys do, is one thing that's helped, I guess, me have clarity in my life is to find something worth dying for. As silly as that sounds, but whether it comes to my business or the people that I work with or my family, I truly believe it where at times where if I am feeling, you know, oh, why me, or this is hard, etc., my passion for what I'm doing is if someone said, oh, well, close your business or you have to cut off your left arm, I'll be like, take the left arm. Like, there's no question in my mind, you know, I'm willing to die for it, let alone cut off my left arm.
But that's not for you either. It's because you know what you're doing for the people as well. It's helping people, which is super special, Darcy, you know.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate that a lot. And do you think it's important for young people to try find that thing that they're passionate about, or to try that thing that they would, again, not that we want anyone to die, but to feel so strongly about something where they live for something beyond themselves?
You know, the message I want to get to people is this. This mightn't be what you want to do, punch a bag, but guarantee you when you walk into one of these places, you're going to meet somebody that you're going to fall in love with or talk to, and you're going to be able to talk, you're going to be able to communicate, because this is the normal person. Boxing training is, you know, what normal people do. It's not the most expensive thing in the world. You're punching a bag, but like I said, it's somewhere that you'll find a great friend and somebody who's there for you all the time. So I mean, you know, that's for me. The boxing ring, the boxing circle, the boxing people are always there for each other.
Absolutely. Jeff, thank you so much for your time. Myself and all the HitFit community really, really appreciate you being here today.
It's great to be here, and I should have done what you said and put that jumper on. I'm freezing. It's bloody cold.
It is. Thanks so much, Jeff. Appreciate your time.
Pleasure.